And good evening, folks. NTV Chief Meteorologist Eddie Shear here. We didn't have a newscast tonight, so I wanted to share some thoughts with you on Friday's storm, which I didn't have a chance to do earlier today. So I'll go into that a little bit now. There certainly has been quite a bit of hype with this storm, and I think that's well-deserved because there is the potential with this storm to bring a lot of snow to the Avalon. That being said, it's going to depend on track. A farther west track, which is what some of the models are hinting, would mean we see a lot of snow, a lot of wind, potentially blizzard conditions, if not a blizzard itself. If the track is a little farther east, some of the models are also forecasting that, we have a fair amount of snow, a fair amount of wind, but it's not going to be a major storm, but it certainly will be a significant one. So at the very least, we are going to see a significant storm, and we are going to see a fair amount of snow, which some of you will like and some of you will not like. But before we get to that, I do want to talk about a couple of things. We'll start with the Twitter feed here, and let's see, Twitter. There we go. There has been a lot of hype with the storm, in particular because a lot of people have this app by AccuWeather. And the AccuWeather app does give you a pretty good idea of the forecast, but it's not put together by humans. It just basically seems to use one computer model to generate a forecast. So you see, this person here, Lewis Power on Twitter, is saying his AccuWeather app is predicting 40 to 60 centimeters of snow between Friday afternoon and Saturday morning in St. John's. That is an extreme scenario. Is it likely? No. Is it possible? Yes. But it's on the extreme end of the spectrum. So you have your extreme end of the spectrum, which are an all-out blizzard with 40, 50, 60 centimeters of snow, and the other end of the spectrum is a storm goes well east and we get hardly any snow. The more likely scenario, at least as of now, is sort of right down the middle, and luckily we have another day or two to iron out the forecast, or at least another day and a half, I should say, to iron out the forecast before the storm does arrive, and in that time frame, we will nail down the track and the amounts will become clear. But I'm going to talk about now what I think is going to happen and a more likely scenario, at least as of tonight. Before we get to that, though, certainly some interesting facts. Brian Walsh posted a really gnarly stat today. The high in St. John's was minus 10.4, and that is the coldest high ever on January 1st since records began in 1942. And it was also, today was also the first time the temperature didn't get above minus 10 in nearly 5 years. So if you think it's cold, it has been cold. All right, so let's jump into the nitty-gritty. Here's National View, the satellite and radar. We can see the beginnings of our storm. We've got some rain moving off the southeast coastline of the Carolinas, getting off the coast of Georgia, and pushing across Florida, and also looking at some showers across Alabama and Mississippi. And we're also seeing this band of snow setting up from Michigan all the way back down into parts of eastern Kansas. And these two little pieces of energy that are causing this precipitation are going to merge along the east coast and then move up and off the coast of Newfoundland Friday afternoon into Saturday. Closer to home, we'll show that we are seeing some of the ocean effect squalls along the west coast, and some of them are trying to get going, it looks like, close to the Burin, and southern Avalon Peninsula is also seeing some ocean effect snow squalls toward Cape Breton. And over the next 24 hours, we are going to see the ocean effect squalls and flurries continuing, so some areas will certainly pick up a few centimeters of snow, but it will be very localized, as always. But then the forecast gets interesting. And that's going to be beginning tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, this is a computer model showing that we have two low pressure centers. Okay, we've got one just off the coast of New Jersey, and it looks like another one pushing off the coast of Cape Hatteras. Lots of precipitation with this, and this first blue line here is the rain-snow line for all intents and purposes. And the brighter colors you see here are higher precipitation rates. If they're south of this line or east of that line, generally we're speaking about rain. If they're west, we are speaking about snow. So it looks like we are seeing a snow band developing through southern Maine all the way down into West Virginia. Now as we step ahead 12 more hours, this is now Friday morning, we see the lows have merged, and that low is certainly getting stronger. It goes from not even under 1,000 millibars to looks to be 984 millibars off the coast of Massachusetts, off of Cape Hatteras. And once again, we are seeing the blues and greens here indicating high precipitation rates, and anything again west of that blue line would be snow. But across Newfoundland, by Friday morning, we are still looking good. So this is Friday morning, valid 8:30 a.m. We step ahead into Friday afternoon. This is now valid at 18Z. Let me do some math here. I should know this off the top of my head. That's 2:30 in the afternoon. We can see the low has moved north. It has strengthened a bit, and we are now just beginning to see this light green color approaching the southern part of Newfoundland, and that would be light snow starting, as this first blue line here is well offshore, so precipitation type should not be an issue. Now as we step forward 3 hours, you'll see the low has moved north, and we see this darker green color encroaching on southern Newfoundland. So by Friday evening now, this is 7 o'clock, 9, 8, 7, this is 5:30 in the evening now. We're seeing the snow becoming heavier across eastern and southern Newfoundland. And then as we go into Friday night, we see this darker green color indicating heavier snow yet. And as that low strengthens, so this is valid 8:30 Friday night, that low is now 978 millibars, I think, maybe 976, can't really tell, just off the Avalon, and it's passing as we go into Friday night. That's Friday night around midnight. And then as we go into early Saturday morning, that's Saturday morning at 2:30, it's still snowing, but as we can see, the colors are getting lighter, which means as we go into Saturday morning, the snow is winding down. Now that being said, this is just one computer model track. Now let me backtrack a bit here, and I'll show you a couple of things. Okay? See this darker green color here? This is with a track fairly close to the Avalon. This would give us a good amount of snow, probably in the 30 centimeter range, if not a little higher, if it takes this track. Amounts will be less as we get west of the Avalon. Any closer, we see more than that. Any farther away, we see less than that. So there certainly is some variability in the track here, and it's just going to depend where it eventually lines up. Now here is one computer model's forecast from the Canadian. It's called the Canadian Global what is the name of it? We'll just say it's the Global GEM. Fair enough. Big scale. And this model is showing 15 to 20 centimeters across much of the Avalon, a bit higher amounts as we get south. Now the one problem with that is that the snow ratios, this is showing basically a snow ratio of 10 to 1, or what it's showing is, it's not showing a snow accumulation. What it's showing is if we melted the snow, this is how much precipitation there would be. So typically it's showing 15 to 20 millimeters of rain, and if we take that at face value, typically basically 1 centimeter of snow to 1 millimeter of rain, we're talking 15 to 20 centimeters. But this storm is going to be a cold storm, and when you have a cold storm, you get very fluffy snow. So instead of 1 centimeter of snow to 1 millimeter of rain, we could be talking about 1.5 centimeters of snow to 1 millimeter of liquid, I should say, or perhaps even 2. So if that's the case, the snow amounts are going to be fairly high. So at a minimum, for Metro St. John's, for the Avalon Peninsula, I think we're talking about 15 to 25 centimeters tonight. There is the extreme range where we could be closer to 40 or 50 centimeters, or there's the other side of it where we could be at none. I think the middle is a good choice as of now, but by tomorrow evening we'll have a better idea of the track, and I'll have a better handle on where I think the heaviest snow is going to fall, and how much this city will see and how much the Avalon Peninsula will see as well. If you're on the Burin Peninsula, this also bears watching because any farther west track would mean very significant snowfall for you. So again, this is something that we're going to have to watch very closely, and as the low does go by, it is going to be strengthening, so we are going to be seeing some pretty gusty winds, 80, 90, 100 kilometers per hour, not out of the question, certainly causing some blowing and drifting snow. So I hope this answered some of your questions. I hope I didn't ramble along too much, and I will see you tomorrow evening on the NTV Evening News Hour starting at 5:30 with Tony Marie on First Edition, and then I'm on between 6 and 7 as well. And as always, I'll be on social media, Facebook, meteorologist Eddie Shear on Facebook, Twitter, Eddie Shear on Facebook, and or Twitter, excuse me, and on Google Plus, Eddie Shear on Google Plus. So check me out there. I'll have some updates for you, but this is all I have for you this evening. Have a great night. Try and stay warm. I am with my sweet NTV beanie hat. Have a nice night.